have that way.
Yeah. We end up with the doing stuff here.
It's only there to read.
Yeah, see, you live in a world I don't know that much about. See? I know the hallways and the jails and the handball courts. I know the simple things. I know the spiders and what the lizards are thinking. And I see the birds, and I look over the fence, and I watch life go on in the world you live in. It's not the same world as the one I live in.
I realize that.
So, not to say it's bad or good or indifferent, but it just reaches the point of understanding that you know, and you've always known, as we all know, the same things that we all know.
So, you are religious in your own way?
Sure. In my way, yeah. I have respect for holy men. They're good men on the earth. Ristad is a good man. There's a lot of good men that I've met in my life that I have much respect for.
When you and Mel write a book, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to try to bring out in your book?
I never even thought of anything like that. I'd have to give that some thought. I was doing this on Mel's request. He wanted to write the book. I don't particularly care to explain nothing to you. I don't look up at you for any reason to bring my report card home anymore. Does that make sense?
Well, no, what I'm trying to find out is, what would you like to bring out in the book that can teach other people?
What can you teach other people?
That's what I'd like to know. What do you think you can teach other people?
That's what I'd like to know, too. I know how to be reborn and start all over. And start all over. I don't start all over with the same old, I just start all over. Even though I might be old, I'm still brand new every day because I do one day at a time, just like that old convict used to tell me. Isn't that what he used to say now? One day at a time. So I've learned to live my life in one day at a time.
Is there anything you think you can pass on that society really is missing and that you can tell them about?
Society knows when it wants to know. There's just a jellyfish who's only controlled by the people who want to move the sheep around. They'll tell them anything. Everybody knows that everybody's lying. Do you know anyone that tells the truth? Can you trust a lawyer? Can't trust a lawyer. You can't trust. Who can you trust? The President, Nixon, Watergate? Look at where your children are looking at it from. Who can they trust?
So you would try to tell parents something about raising children?
I would try to tell the children how to help the parents.
How?
By realizing that the parent child. Because he doesn't understand the child, but the child understands the parent. I've talked with little kids, they tell the truth.
What do you want to point out in the book if you bring that out? What would you like to point out?
You people are on your road going where you're going. If you don't want to stop from going where you're going, I'm not going to stop you. You know, you're going to your destruction, not mine. I've already established mine. You know, I've already went through mine. I've been judged. The judge gave me 9 life sentences.
But hold a minute. You really are. But in your philosophical talk, a lot of people won't, it'll go right over their heads. That's what I'm trying to say. Put it so they can understand it in lay language. Can we do that?
Well, it's sad all over, really. You know, it's hard for me to express how much sadness that I went through to reach this point of understanding that I am now talking to you from. How are you going to help somebody that don't want help? Hit them in the head and make them do it?
Will your book do that? Will you try?
Will I try?
To explain that.
Will I try to help you people destroy me some more? Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's what I'm doing here.
Will your book help children? Help parents?
I don't know whether it would help anyone. I've never thought about that. You guys would have to show me what help is so I'd know what it is. You teach me, I'll learn. I'm just a little kid in mine. See, I've been in jail 30-some years. I never lived in the world outside. I'm like a little kid out there.
Will your life story help somebody else to understand how to proceed?
If it was possible to present everything that's came down in the last few years in a proper perspective, it would be advantageous to other people, I would imagine. But if they had eyes in their head and they could see under the bed, they'd see that heads of lead and eyes of wood. It doesn't really matter because rubber fingers is taking the hand off into the universe anyway. The level of comprehension that you hold in your mind is only taught you by a school book that's in a sorority house. My father jumps off the Second World War in the ruptured ducks that were in the little pins and the buttons. In Section 8 in the nut wards, and all the people that have gone crazy.
Your father was crazy?
My father was all men that I've ever met in prison. Mel is one of my fathers. Creepy Carpus is another. I learned something from everyone. The captains, the wardens. I never missed anybody. I learned as much as I could from everybody I could get a hold of. And I've never met anybody that I couldn't learn something from. But now that I have learned what I've learned, I don't think you people want to know what I know. You wouldn't like it.
Why?
Well, because it's not very nice.
Well, why?
Because the people that you let run your lives aren't very nice. The people that govern you, the people that tell you people what to do, they're not good people.
Let me change the subject for a minute. You've been back on a job, out of segregation, for how long now?
I don't know. I got up and came out here today.
How long have you been working in the chapel?
I explained to you. I live one day at a time.
Right.
I don't have any other life outside one day at a time.
What brought you back into the mainline population?
What brought me back into the mainline? The preacher, with his love and respect and help, got me back on the main line.
After all that years of solitary, all those years of solitary and segregation, how is it?
Still right now, I'm doing the same day I've always done. I've just had to bring it a long ways. But it's still today, and it's still a good day. And every day gets a little better. No matter what you do to me.
Are you at peace with yourself?
Whatever that means, I never even thought about to ask myself if I was. I don't generally talk to myself. But I guess talking to yourself would be all right.
It's sad to me, you know. You want a sound check from us?
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
I want you to give this question a lot of consideration. You don't have to answer me now, but can you imagine what it would be like to be interrogated by the SS?
I don't know whether I can imagine it or not.
Think about it.
Oh, I know what their tactics are. Okay. Can I answer it after the interview?
There's no doubt about it, is there?
Can I answer it after the interview?
Very serious, isn't it?
Sure it is. Can I answer you after the interview?
No, you don't have to answer me. You can just think about it
I will.
in your everyday
Okay.
doings.
Let's talk about Helter Skelter. Bugliosi paints you as a small would-be pop singer, as he describes it, of little talent. How do you react to that?
Bugliosi looks in the mirror every morning when he shaves. And that's the only person in Bugliosi's world. Just him. Ask his wife. She knows it.
What about the accuracy of the book, though, Charlie?
He had the dates right and the names right, but he had a million illusions that had nothing to do with my reality. He was only trying and convicting his own reality. Didn't have anything to do with me. I've already been through all these prisons.
But he did paint you as probably one of the most universally known persons
To who?
around, to readers, people who read it.
And they believed it?
I don't know. What do you think?
Then they're not as good as what they read, are they?
But the book, how accurate or inaccurate is it?
I never read it.
Didn't you brief it one time?
I read parts of it.
Yeah. How did you find it?
Like I say, it was reflections of what he was thinking. It had nothing to do with me. Seriously, the Charlie Manson that you created, that's not me. That's only an illusion in your minds. It hasn't got anything to do with me.
What's the real Charlie Manson?
I haven't really been able to make him up. See, I've just been reborn again, see, and I'm learning now. I'm starting all over, and I'm learning. The preacher's teaching me, the teacher's teaching me, the counselor's counseling me, and the doctor's looking out after me. The guards don't bother me that much, and I don't bother them that much. They do their jobs and raise their kids, and I do my job and do what I do for my kids.
You know, there was a time a while back where when you got out into the main line, you ran into trouble. I remember Bobby Davis up at Folsom.
I ran into trouble?
Well, you got into trouble.
Who told you that? You see what I'm saying?
Did it happen? Did you fight?
Many things have happened. No, I didn't fight.
Where you fought? Where somebody come after you?
Where I fought? Sure, I've been fought many times.
Did somebody come after you?
Someone come after me? No, someone could come after me if they wanted to.
But did they?
No, they've always left me here. Nobody wanted me.
You haven't had any trouble on the outside?
On the
With
outside
that?
where?
In prison.
In the prison, no. In the population, no, I get along with most of the convicts. The convicts that get along with themselves. There's much harmony in prison. More every day. There's much wisdom in the prison. More every day.
Getting back to the book, what is this magnetism that people keep referring to? And it's been beyond that. People writing you, wanting to meet you, your people that you had in the desert. What is the magnetism?
Why don't you answer that question?
I'm asking that question.
Well, can't you see?
So tell me, what is it?
Well, what do you think it is?
Do you know?
Do you know?
Don't play games with me.
It's no
Seriously.
game. I know. That's why. That's why you're asking questions, and I'm not asking you questions.
Okay.
You see, I don't need to ask you questions. I already know.
Could you tell me?
Sure, I can tell you. Do you have the time?
I'm here.
Who would you like to start?
Well, what is it? Go ahead and tell me.
What is what? Are you secure?
Charlie.
The government of the United States, the government has never been more secure. Never been more secure than it is right now.
Hold it, bud. Seriously, I want to know. All right?
Okay?
What is it that draws people to you?
Constitution, generating attention, reality. I know. When you know, you just simply know. Jesus on that cross. You know he's there. Is he there? Is the cross there? I know the cross is there. You don't have to put me on the cross to witness for the cross. I can see the cross. Now what I'm trying to do is get back to earth so I can go out in the desert. I've already cleaned that thought up once. And you put another president in.
But you said
And every time I clean it up, you put another president in.
All right. You said it's people who are in harmony with you. What do you mean by that?
The people that are in harmony with themselves, in the will of the child. The child has a will. You tell the child to come here, and the child will walk over. You tell him to sit down, and he'll sit down. He's just in the will of the child. God and his children are in the will of the child. It's just as simple as the Bible said that you must be as little children before you enter the kingdom of heaven. If the Christians had believed in the Bible, then we wouldn't have all this conflict. But evidently, the only ones that are in conflict now are the Christians. You know, like they don't seem to believe in their own God for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe they need to see him on the cross again. Or maybe they should pray for him to come out of the sky in a silver platter. Or, you know, I don't know. I'm just here, and you're there. And who is your reality? And where do you get your energy from? And where does your soul flow? And your thoughts? And how do you know you know? Unless you have to come and say, Charlie, how's the Dow Jones?
You read the Wall Street Journal.
Certainly I read the Wall Street Journal. I'm right at the top of your brain. And I'll read the Wall Street Journal until you let me walk out that door a free man. Or we'll just use Indian head pennies for earrings.
What if you did get a parole date in November? What would you do?
Then I would give it some serious thought. I don't have room in my mind for could-bes. I have to deal in what is. I can't think about what I want. I have to deal with what I'm allowed to have.
What if you got a date?
If I got a date, then I would probably have a date.
Do you know what you'd want to do?
Yes, I have many plans. A lot of plans. I'd like to clean up the water. I'd like to go up in the mountains and start at the top of the mountains and clean the springs up. Take all the pollution out of the water so I could drink it. Clean up all the green things and pick up all the old beer cans and clean all the way to the ocean. And then maybe we might be able to save a little air and water for our children. Because I'm living in my child's world now. I'm working on his world. My world already went to the gas chamber.
What if you don't get a date?
If I don't get a date, then I won't have a date.
Have you thought about it then? I know you want to get a date. What if you don't?
I gave it some thought, but not that much. I gave it thought in relation that it's possible that they'll be pushed to make some sort of move to alleviate the pressure that they've created on themselves. If there's any way that I could help that, I would, then that way I could achieve what I'm after also. All I want is what the Constitution said I could have. The liberty and the right to look for my freedom the way I want. If you gave the Constitution to me like you said you were supposed to, then I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have been here the last 11 years. But if you let your politicians play like they're Christians and use your courtroom to further their own purposes, then all you're doing is big business with your own children's lives. And it really doesn't make sense to me, but I don't have the president's spot to make any change. If I had the control to make the change, I have the power to.
Did it come on and go off? No? Oh, yeah, I see it.
So if I can get comfortable here, I might be able to set all the way down.
You know, we were talking about this. The book Helter Skelter.
Right.
You said that there are a lot of things wrong with it. What's wrong with it?
Well, the book's all right. Got good paper and all that. All this paper comes from trees. It's a shame to waste all your trees writing this trash for your children to be raised up in. You want your children to live according to the gospel of Helter Skelter?
Where are the inaccuracies in it?
Well, it would take me as long as it took him to point them out. It took him 2 years in court to invent them. It would take me 2 years in court to uninvent them and redo them and show the proper perspective of it.
Bulliosi.
Yeah. Helter Skelter simply means confusion. And if you don't see the confusion in the world, it's always been confusion in the world, then I guess you don't know what confusion means. But like, I get out of jail, and every time I get out of jail, society's moving a little faster, and they're doing crazier things. And I get out, and I can never adjust to it outside because it's almost impossible to do anything right. Everything is wrong to somebody. I mean, you have to hide, and you know, day people and night people, and everybody all divided up. And
Did they make up the evidence introduced in court?
a big percentage of it they found and created themselves. They'd push a fingerprint together till it got to be, they justified it, and then they'd send it to another office and let them push it a little bit. Then another office, and they'd push it, and then finally they'd find another point till they finally come up with a fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
Then the people that supposedly left the fingerprint has never lied to me, nor I to them, told me, and I wasn't even there in that particular portion of the crime. I was over in this particular portion of it. In other words, all the little things that they come up with, like the trailer, the...
Hey, owner,
I've met him again, but I'll take it again.
look here, man. I used to run with this guy. You can't shake it.
The other side of the coin.
Well, I'm just pulling that hotel with land and just get some pictures of it.
And he's talking about another generation. He forgets I'm old enough to be. I never did ask any of
She
them.
had me when she went to prison. Left me stuck out on the road by myself, man. Use the hand rock here. Where's it at?
I haven't seen it.
There? Somebody here knows Dr. Bulldog knows Dr. in California. And tied him around a tree and then run off.
That's Southern California? Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, he gets 11 murders.
He got five.
They made a late start. They put the
Hey, Charles, he's the way ahead. You're unplugged.
I won't.
They don't mean anything anyway.
Why? Give me a moment.
To who?
To those involved.
Yeah, well, I know. It looks like it could be anything.
Well, we got searched like anybody else. Don't think all this stuff doesn't go through somebody's hands or a magnetometer.
That mic so you can't move.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Can we take that mic off so we can move?
Yeah.
We're just kind of looking.
guys always did play this.
I don't.
Come on.
But you wouldn't know it anyway. If it's, well, something like that. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. But I do want to see this house. And what you basically do. Show me around.
Well, basically, I work with another guy. He's not here now.
Yeah.
And then we clean the rugs.
On a group therapy session on rape.
Yeah.
And,
Works out well. It's quite an experience for all.